Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ministry Matters with Chris Stinnett. I am Chris Stinnett, and today I want to talk to you about a situation that can be very, very uncomfortable. But first, I want to start with a story. Years ago, when I first began contemplating going back to college and beginning to preach full-time, I went to interview with a preacher who was very competent and experienced and a really, really good man. I liked him very, very much. And I talked to him about the whole prospect of becoming a full-time preacher. And one of the things that he said to me, he gave me a lot of good advice, but one of the things that he said to me that day was, in any congregation, you're going to have about 5% of the people who love you to pieces just because you're the preacher. And you're going to have about 5% of the people who just hate you like poison because you're the preacher. It wouldn't matter who else you were. You're the preacher, so you are the lightning rod. He said the most you can do is try to work with the other 90%. And I have found that to be a good piece of advice and something that helps to keep me fairly well centered. But today I want to talk to you about a situation that can occur. It's not very common, but it can occur from time to time. And that has to do with really unwarranted criticism, gossip that's being spread about you. Stealth criticism. People in the background, one or more people are just talking badly about you. Unfortunately, this can go on for a while before you even become aware of it. But when you become aware of it, you have to take some steps and deal with it. Now, I want to give you a warning about this. There are actually two warnings that I want to give, and that's going to be at the end of the video, so I'm going to ask you to stay around for the entire video. There are a couple of important things to say at the end of this. Now, when it comes to criticism and gossip and that kind of unpleasantness, you have to remember that Jesus gave us some guidance on how to resolve these situations, and you're not going to improve on Jesus's guidance. So you find that in Matthew 18, starts in verse 15 and moves on from there. Watch out for that kind of resolution. Do the best you can with this. So the first thing that you want to do when you have this kind of unwarranted criticism, or what you think is unwarranted criticism, is you want to pray about it, certainly. But you also want to schedule a meeting, arrange a one-on-one, face-to-face meeting with the person who is spreading this bad report. You want to sit down with the individual and talk about those things. As you hear from that person, you learn about the issue itself. You want to ask yourself very directly, is this valid? And you have to be very honest about this. Is this criticism valid? If it is valid, we're going to deal with that. If you can honestly say it's valid, you did say it, you did it, whatever you're being charged with, you're really guilty of this, then you have to ask yourself, can I fix the situation or can I not fix the situation? If you can't fix the situation, all you can do in that moment is apologize to the person that you have offended and learn from that mistake. So apologize, and in your apology, understand this. You can't excuse what you've done. You can't somehow justify your conduct or your words. Don't weasel around on this. Own it. If you're responsible, apologize. I'm sorry. I will do my best to make sure that never happens again. Whatever you have to do to apologize sincerely about that if you can't fix the situation. But suppose for a moment, as you learn about this issue, you realize you actually can fix the situation. Well, what do you do then? And the answer is apologize. If it's valid, it's valid. Apologize. Again, no excusing, no justifying. Just apologize for what you did. Learn from that situation. And then go repair the situation if you can. Sometimes you can't repair the situation. Sometimes it had to do with someone who was passing through the congregation. You snubbed that person or you said something incorrect. You can't fix that. Sometimes the apology itself is the repair that's needed. But regardless, if you can fix the situation, fix the situation. This is how you approach the criticism if it is honestly valid, and you have to be honest with yourself. However, it is possible that the criticism is not, in fact, valid. And if that's the case, there's another approach entirely. If the criticism is not valid, when you're sitting in this meeting one-on-one, you need, first of all, to clarify the situation for the person, but you need to do it in a very, very kind way. You need to be able to say, for example, I can understand how that would seem so, but then you need to clarify the situation. Maybe what they heard is not what you said. Maybe what happened is not really what happened. Maybe they heard something and assumed you said it, but it was the person standing next to you. Who knows? Here's your opportunity to clarify the situation in a very, very kind and conciliatory way. Things will go well with you if you do that. Now, there's a warning here. If the person refuses to meet with you at all, then you have to presume that the criticism is not, in fact, valid. If it were valid, they would explain to you what the problem is and seek to get it resolved with you. Regardless of whether you've had an opportunity to clarify the situation or not, another thing that you need to do with this is to meet with your elders and get perhaps some additional perspective from them. You need to tell them what is happening and how you have attempted to address it to this point, and allow them to give you some better perspective on the individual or the situation or whatever. There may be more that will help you to be a little bit more conciliatory in all of this. The last thing is very, very important, and that is simply just don't pursue this. If the criticism is not valid, you don't need to continue to talk about it. Don't worry about it. Just let it evaporate kind of naturally. You know how these controversies are. Sometimes they will just go away on their own. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said there are two warnings that I want to impart to you, and these are very important too. So the first warning is this. You actually can take a bad situation and make it very, very, very much worse. It's like pouring gasoline or even dynamite on the fire. Here's what you absolutely, positively don't want to do. Don't go seeking out allies. Don't gossip about the person who gossips. Don't try to develop a faction around you or some kind of support group to affirm you in some way. Don't let it degenerate into an us versus them situation. That is absolutely the wrong thing to do. And if you talk about it, that's what inevitably will happen. That's why you want not to pursue it and not to talk about it. A second warning is this. Preachers, let's just tell the truth. We seek approval. We seek approval as if we were some kind of fluffy puppies running around. You've just got to get over that in your own heart and in your own mind. We seek approval from Jesus, not from the church, not from individuals, not even from our eldership. We seek approval from Jesus. It is the ministry that matters because the ministry is for Him. Never, ever, ever forget. We seek His approval. It's His ministry, and that's why ministry matters. And as always, friends, like, subscribe, and share because ministry matters. And God bless you.